Hi, welcome to Big Mama's Kitchen and Catering. We've moved to our new location here at the beautiful Highlander Accelerator building located at 30th and Patrick. We are still open even during the pandemic. We've made some changes and we are here to serve you Omaha's best soul food. The best way to order Big Mama's delicious soul food is to go to our website, bigmamaskitchen.com, click on the Order Now button, place your order, pay for your order, and upon arrival, park at any one of our 4 convenient curbside pickup locations. Give us a call and we'll bring the order right out to you. You can also order carryout from Big Mama's. Park on the Patrick Street side of the building, walk down this long brown sidewalk, and come in through the west doors. Once inside, you come in through the door and enter in what we call the dining room, and you walk right up to our window and you can place your order or pick up your food. We're looking forward to preparing a fresh home-cooked meal for you, and we hope to see you soon.
Check, check. Welcome, everyone. This is our second candidate forum in relationship to District 11 and our senator and others who are running for that particular office. For whatever the reason, Senator Chambers were not able to be here, and neither was Miss Calandra Cooper. And that's a sad thing to see, because this is such an important office, and this individual at every turn have always shown up for whatever the reason. And so I want to applaud him for coming down out of his busy schedule, running for office, and having a conversation with us in regards to his work and why he's running for a second term. So without further ado, I want to welcome Mr. Terrell McKinney. Let me rephrase that. Terrell McKinney, and the phenomenal work he's done on his first run for office. So I would like him to take a few minutes and introduce himself. If you don't know him, you're under a rock. And then we'll get into some questions with him.
Thank you, Willie. Again, my name is Terrell McKinney, state senator. I represent District 11 in the state legislature currently, and I'm running for re-election. I've been in office for 4 years, and I decided to run again because the fight for the people must persist, and the work that I've done, although it's been a lot of things, the work isn't completed because we still need more economic change in North Omaha. We still need to address the criminal justice system in a lot of ways through policy changes. We still need educational equity throughout our community, especially for students in District 11. And we also must continue to improve healthcare access for our community and our residents, because residents in District 11 have the lowest life expectancy, and we have to continue to do more to try to change that. And that's the biggest reason why I'm running. I would like to thank Willie and Black Men United for inviting me, as well as Big Mama's Kitchen. Thank you.
Yeah. The 4 years you've been in office, what is the top 3 accomplishment that you're most proud of?
The top 3 accomplishments that I'm probably most proud of since I've been in office, I think number 1 is the Economic Recovery Act. Bringing $400+ million to East Omaha and North Omaha is a huge historic accomplishment. It has never been done across the country, and I did that with Senator Wayne and other senators in the body to bring about economic change for our community who have not been invested in throughout my lifetime. And that's one. I think another one is a bill I just recently got passed, which will do a lot of reforms to the parole system and reentry in our state, which is big. It's making sure that the parole board does its work, but also making sure we put services in place and expand reentry access for individuals that are returning home from prison. And also probably the first bill I passed is a good one as well, which banned hair discrimination in the workplace, which it's huge because many of us have, you know, different ways we like to wear our hair. And I've heard throughout my lifetime for people at work, and you get employers saying, hey, you can't wear your hair that way. And as a father, I thought it was important to prioritize something like that, to try to ensure that once my daughter gets into the workplace, she doesn't have some employer coming at her saying she can't wear her hair how she would like. So those three are big. It's been some other ones. I had another priority, which was to establish an innovation hub program. And the purpose of that was to bring resources to the community for small businesses and base it around innovation. I was able to get that passed. And through the Economic Recovery Act, we were able to set aside $30 million to build a innovation hub in North Omaha that would serve our small businesses and our entrepreneurs to bring about more economic change. So it's probably those four for me.
Now, I know you had some challenges. I know you had some challenges, and I've seen folks throw rocks at you without any type of research, whatever, don't even know you. So, what would be some of the negative things that you have had to take in regards to this cycle?
I mean, we could go all day. It's, you know, you hear a lot of assumptions or things people say about me and what I do, but what I would tell people is I'm probably the most accessible senator in the legislature. I'm the most present senator in the legislature. I fight day and night for my community, and you can ask all of my colleagues and anybody in the legislature who fights the most for the district, and they would probably say me. So I hear the assumptions, but a lot of it don't be true. You know, some people think I focus too much on criminal justice. Well, when you represent a district that has the most amount of people in our in our penitentiaries, yes, I focus on it because I've been not only affected by it throughout my life, but also I represent many families that call me every day asking about, hey, can you call out to the prison? Could you call the warden? Could you call somebody to try to help me out because my son and daughter is incarcerated and they need some help? Um, I focus on my number one thing is economics. And, you know, there was a lot of backlash with the economic recovery process, but a lot of people didn't understand that there's a separations of powers. We, myself and no other senator evaluated anybody's project. That was left up to a whole different people. It wasn't us. We passed the bill and we did our best to hold the Department of Economic Development accountable to what the law said. But outside of that, I mean, assumptions are assumptions. I don't run away from any type of feedback, whether positive or negative. If you have a question, ask it, and I'm willing to answer it because I'm not ashamed of who I am and what I've done since I've been in office, because I know at the core of it, my intent has always been to work for my community.
And that's one of the things I really see about you. You come from the community. You lived a lot of the stuff that a lot of us are fighting for. So keep doing you, man. And I think if you do that, you'll end up in a good place. When you talk about the innovation hub, is there any way you can go in a little bit more detail about what is an innovation hub and how can folks access the different resources, if anything?
So the purpose of the innovation hub is for, let's say, somebody in this room has a business idea. You will be able to, the vision is for you to be able to go to the innovation hub and get help with just doing a business plan, learning how to get access to capital, learning how to do your books correctly, and those type of things, just cultivating innovation. It's also for small business owners who may not know how to navigate how to get access to capital or how to upscale their businesses. That is the purpose of the innovation hub, is to have a place in the community that we could begin to organically grow small businesses and make sure that they're successful and sustainable.
So where would the innovation hub be located?
I'm not sure yet, but it has to be within 2 miles of the airport, so somewhere probably around 16th area, somewhere around that area.
Now I see a lot of development happening on 16th and 24th.
Mhm.
Are you involved with that at all?
I mean, am I involved with it? I wouldn't say not directly. I mean, with the passage of the Economic Recovery Act, there's going to be a lot of development, and I was one of the architects of the bill. So yes, but not too much. You know, it's development going on across the street that I think is good. I'm not involved with it, but not all the development, not directly at all. I hear conversations, or sometimes somebody wants to meet and say, "Hey, we're trying to do this," but direct involvement, no.
You know, right now, man, the summer's getting ready to hit here,
Mhm.
and we've been seeing a lot of violence when you're talking about youth. Is there anything that you have in place or would like to be see in place to be able to address it seem like the upscale of violence between our young kids?
I mean, when you think about violence with youth or juveniles getting in trouble, it's a historic thing that's always been plagued our community. And one of the things that I've always said is there's not a lot of things for kids to do in the community, and we just about that. No wonder they're acting out. We took away all the summer programs. We took away all the community centers. It's not a lot left. So one thing we were able to do with the Economic Recovery Act was access a capital construction grant to build a sports and wellness and multi-purpose facility. It's some years down the line, but these situations have persisted forever, and it's not going to change overnight. And we just got to make sure that, and one of the things I always push for is to say we need to invest less in police and more in community. And it's not to take away, like, it's not to say like police should just be eliminated or anything like that, but the reality is police respond to crime. We need more preventative things in our community to make sure our kids aren't acting out. It's no reason that police or whoever gets hundreds of millions of dollars to, what they say, protect and serve, and we only give crumbs to prevention and outreach. I think it should be reversed. I think if we put more dollars into prevention and outreach, we wouldn't see the stuff we see.
How can we keep more of our young folks, especially our boys, in school? Seems like a lot of them has been pushed out, but that's only my interpretation.
I mean, we got to start attacking the school to prison pipeline more. I was able to get a bill passed to ban the suspension of pre-K and second graders because we have to kill the school to prison pipeline. But I think we also have to modernize our educational system. The way kids are taught is pretty much the same since probably you was in school.
Right.
I mean, yes, they got technology now, but the base of it has not changed. And if we know that kids today have lower attention spans, why are we asking them to sit in a classroom for 45 minutes or an hour and a half? And we know that they're not even watching videos for 2 minutes, and they're not even trying to listen to music for more than 2 minutes. The data is out there. We just have to do what we can to modernize our education system, because that's how you change it. We have to also make sure that we get more people that look like us inside of our schools, and have to find ways to attract more talent to make sure they can be inside those schools, and talk to OPS and other people to do that.
I think you hit that on the nose. If you go into a lot of these elementary schools, middle schools, you won't find too many black men in the schools. Most of them are women dominated. And a lot of the women who are coming into the schools, and this is not nothing personal against women per se, but you have young white women coming into an environment where most of the children are predominantly black. So do you think that plays a role in how our kids are being taught?
Yes, I think that plays a role. I think you need more people who understand the perspectives and the lives that kids are living. Kids in North Omaha are not the same as And a lot of they don't, their day-to-day life is different than kids in West Omaha. Kids in North Omaha may at times go to sleep hungry. They might go to sleep with the lights off. They might go to sleep hearing gunshots outside the window. So waking up and going to school isn't just that simple of this kid went to sleep last night, but this kid went to sleep hearing gunshots all night. This kid went to sleep with police in a house or something. It's trauma, and we have to account for that. And because we don't really account for the trauma, our kids are not being taught the best because we're expecting them to just go through this system with this cookie cutter approach instead of making it equitable and individualized to the kids and their perspectives. Because I was a kid that when I went to North, we got shot at walking from school. We still had to go to school. We still had to learn. And it's kids living that today, and we got to do more to address those issues.
Absolutely on point. Do you think we could get some more parents and other folks inside the schools to be able to help OPS with some of the problems that they're seeing?
Yeah, I think we need to try to get more parents inside the schools, and even not just parents, just everybody in the community. It's supposed to be a village, but I think we also have to make sure that the barriers to get inside of the schools are decreased. Like right now, we know 1 in 4, 1 in 5 people in our community have a criminal record. But to go work inside the schools, you got to do a background check. So that just eliminated a bunch of people. And I'm not saying somebody should be allowed in schools that have assaulted kids or did something foul to kids or anything like that. But it's some people with records that could be helpful that are getting screened out because of the process. So we have to figure out and work with OPS to figure that out.
Absolutely. Now, they just passed a bill, I think it was in Tennessee, where teachers, a law was passed to give teachers the right to have a gun.
A law was passed in Nebraska to do that too, but it's only in Western Nebraska.
See, in Nebraska.
Mm-hmm. It won't be an OPS, but a law was passed this past session that would allow for school districts. The school districts would have to adopt a policy, but for teachers to have weapons. And they made the argument because of the school districts are so rural that it's hard to get public safety there fast. So they think they teachers need to be armed. It's crazy because if they were trying to do that at OPS, I would be like, no. And I'm still hesitant because it's not, when you think of rural Nebraska, you shouldn't just think about white people, and not to be offensive about it, but the demographics of rural communities are changing with more immigrant populations coming in. And my fear is that because if we don't improve the cultural competency of the education system, my fear is that a Native kid or a Latino kid is harmed because of that, and nobody wants that to happen.
You know, you touched on something earlier about in regards to our kids having dealing with so much negativity in the community. How much do you think mental health play in your synopsis?
Mental health is a big thing. I think we should do more to address mental health. This year, in the budget, actually, there was money set aside for kids that deal with PTSD. I think it was $500,000 that got set aside in the budget, but it needs to be a lot more. Last year, the governor vetoed a bill that I think had $10 million for PTSD. So, I mean, it's something, but it's not going to address the issue. But mental health is huge, not even just for our kids, but for us, period. You know, a lot of us are dealing with unchecked trauma because we've been taught to just deal with it and keep moving, and we can't complain because society isn't going to wait on us. And because of that unchecked trauma, it plays itself out in other aspects of our lives. So I think mental health is huge.
And I think the lack of culture, especially for us, plays a role as well. That's one of the things I wanted to try to address. actually brought a good friend of mine, Idris, from Ghana. He's over an organization called LifeNet, and you was instrumental in going over to Ghana with us, and you saw the negative, and you also saw the positive. What was your takeaway from that trip?
Oh, it was a lot. One, I was just happy to just be in Ghana and just take in the culture and experience it as being a black man from America, and going to the dungeons where our enslaved ancestors were held before they came over here. So it was a lot. I think when I looked at it, in some ways I was happy, in some ways I was sad, because we saw some good parts and we saw some not great parts at all. But one thing I took away from the culture is they still have their culture and they're proud of it. And although they're going through a lot and dealing with a lot, those people wake up 5 in the morning and just trying to be entrepreneurs and trying to make sure that they're able to survive. So from that, I was like, we complain over here, but it's different there, and you got to take that in perspective. And I just was motivated by them just still being willing to wake up and smile and still go to work, although their living conditions weren't the greatest and their life wasn't the greatest.
And that you was right on point. Most of those individuals that we saw doing the entrepreneur piece, they held their head up high. Right? The head wasn't down, none of that stuff. And if we ever get to the point where we're supporting each other, like they support each other over there, I think we can go a long way. So how do you feel that Omaha would benefit from something like this?
I think it'd be huge, for adults, it'd be huge to understand our culture. But I think the most important piece would be for our kids to get a better understanding of who we are and where we come from, and building that bridge from the motherland to here is overdue, because I think a part of our issues that we deal with is that we don't fully understand where we come from and who we are. And I think if we begin to check that off, we'll start seeing more changes. We'll probably start seeing more collaboration and unity within the community if we have a full understanding of who we are.
Absolutely. Another thing is, UNMC is doing some phenomenal work. And just last year, the FDA has a cure for sickle cell. But one of the problems that me and men see is that a lot of black folks and people of color are going to not be able to afford it. So would you support finding some type of funding to be able to circumvent the high cost of this particular drug?
For sure. Definitely. Sickle cell affects black people a lot more than other populations. So yes, I would support something to try to decrease the costs and make sure it's affordable, because it makes no sense that one day they say, hey, we have the cure to improve your life, but we're going to charge you $50,000 to improve your life. To me, it's a scam. A lot of these research projects are actually funded by the government, but they're charging people outrageous costs to get it. And to me, it's inhumane that there's cures in this world and people got to pay for them.
Mm-hmm. So I want to make sure if anybody got any questions, please do not hesitate to raise your hand. Senator, everyone knows I respect you. You're one of the few individuals in the legislature that mean what you say and say what you mean. All right. How can we still hold you accountable, which we do, to be able to do more, if that's possible? Because you did a lot.
I mean, just tell me what you think is needed or what I'm doing wrong. I don't think I'm perfect. I'm not saying I make all the best decisions either, and I'm open to criticism and accountability, whoever it comes from. So that's the biggest thing, is just reaching out. I'm accessible. I'll answer my phone. I'll answer a DM if somebody got a question. So it's ask the questions, hold me accountable. Don't be afraid to tell me, Terrell, you messing up. If I'm messing up, I'm messing up, and don't try to put me on this pedestal because of the role I'm in. Like, at the end of the day, it's about the community, and we all have to work together to improve the community. So if I'm doing something wrong, tell me, like I would if I feel like somebody else is doing something that I don't think is right. So it goes both ways.
We have a lot of our kids are in school right now that are can't read their diploma once they graduate. What are some of the things that we can do? You can suggest that we do to be able to help more of our kids not only graduate, but graduate at a pretty high level, or at least enough to be able to read the diplomas.
That's a loaded question. I think on a community level, I think we have to build more of a like a volunteer base to mentor kids and things like that, and try to guide them along, and not be afraid to deal with the kids, because a lot of people that be like, I ain't gonna deal with that kid, they cuss too much, they crazy, they don't listen because you don't understand them. If you learn to understand them, you probably could be more effective. On a policy level, I think we need to decrease our class sizes some type of way. I think one thing that annoys me, and once I'm reelected, I'm going to try to address, is changing the fact that a kid could graduate high school with a D minus average. That is a huge problem, and people in the education system know it. We are graduating kids that probably ain't prepared for life after high school. And then you talk to people that go to Metro, and they're, instead of spending 2 years at Metro to get an associate's, they're spending 4 years, because the first two are spent just trying to catch up from what they missed in high school for whatever reason. So I think we have to find a way to take 30 kids out of a classroom and decrease it some type of way. We have to make sure we get more teachers inside the classroom, and especially teachers that look like the kids in our community. And those probably are the most important things. And just having people willing to step into the streets with the kids and actually interact with them to understand them, and not just label them bad kids and you don't want to deal with them.
So a big up to Sherman Wells. He do some phenomenal work with the kids and Rome and others. So he gives them a big shout out. Right now you got a lot of older people living longer. Right? Um, what do you see with that? And would you be open to having people work longer? Because they're saying something about the Social Security is going to be cut, blah blah blah.
Well, my generation probably won't get Social Security, but but I mean, I think it's good. People are living longer, and I think we have to figure out a way to also allow people who have devoted their lifetimes to work in jobs to be able to retire at a decent age. Yeah, work longer, work till you're 75. I wouldn't discourage nobody. If they want to do it, they want to do it. But at some point, our elders and our seniors should be able to relax and live out the rest of their lives without having to work all the time and work 40 hours a week and those type of things. So I think the federal government needs to try to figure out the Social Security problem. But on a state level, I would always be open to trying to find creative ways to allow for our seniors to be able to retire and enjoy life and not have to work until they're 70 plus, because the retirement is all gone, and those type of things.
What about housing, man? Because it seemed like this is a huge problem. And then with the rent, I mean, you got people who are paying 50% of their salary to pay for their rent. Something has to change. So, do you have any suggestions when it comes to the new housing?
I think we need more housing stock, but it's not that simple. When you think about our seniors traditionally a lot of them would downsize, but because of the housing market, they're not downsizing. So the houses that would be on the market traditionally are not coming on the market because of that. And after the recession, the construction of houses slowed down, and now we're catching the brunt of that. So I think we have to find more ways to improve affordable housing, but also I had a bill this year to try to define affordable housing, because they'll tell you you should pay no more than 30 to 33% of your income on housing, whether it's a mortgage or rent or whatever, but that's not accounting for the increased cost in utilities and all those other things. So we tried to get a bill passed to try to get it more connected to the average median income and account for utilities and things like that. It wasn't able to get passed, but it's probably something I'll bring back, because I think we have to define what affordable housing is. It's a lot of people that say, hey, I'm building a new apartment complex in your community, it's going to be affordable, and then you go to try to apply and it's $1,200 and you only making $2,000 a month. That's not affordable. It's not affordable when the average median income for this community is half of what it is for the state. So it's like 30 something. So and for some people it's less than that, especially if you're living on a fixed income. So I think we have to define what affordable housing is. We got to find creative ways to increase our housing stock and do it in a more efficient manner to decrease costs. Because a lot of times I go down rabbit holes on YouTube, and you'll see that in the 60s and 70s that they were building houses a lot cheaper and a lot faster. And now today we got all these advancements in technology, but housing costs are higher and building houses takes longer. So I think we have to figure out why that is. Maybe it's supply costs, maybe it's labor costs, and we have to simplify a complex problem, and I'm willing to do it. We've been trying to work on it. I'm the chair of the Urban Affairs Committee. We passed some bills to improve the middle income workforce housing program and try to help provide some more access. And through 1024 and 531, there was some money set aside for affordable housing as well. I think like $20 million. So, and then I was able to amend the budget to make sure that 12.5 million went to affordable housing in the middle income workforce housing program, which is more urban, and then another 12.5 went to rural.
When you say $20 million, that's across the state, though, right?
No, it was for
Norfolk?
not Norfolk per se, but in this community. Yeah.
Okay. That's a start. That's a start.
Yeah.
But it seems like there's more apartment complex being built than actual houses. Why is that?
If you put on your developer lens, they make more money off apartments. But I think when you think about it, I think we need to reverse that. We need to build more homes. We need to increase home ownership. District 11 has the highest percentage of renters in the state, and I think that's a problem. It's why we have so many slumlords. I think we got to find ways for people to be able to own homes at affordable costs, because now your rent is the same as a mortgage or higher than a mortgage for some people. So I think we have to shift that and try to make our community more of owners than renters.
In the last, I think it's been in the news for a while, we see a lot more homeless people. And it's so sad that we in America, that we have such a large homeless population. What are some of your suggestions to address that particular component?
I think when you think about homelessness and people who are, unhoused, it's complex too. But I think we have to get to the roots of why those people ended up homeless. Some people deal with substance abuse. How can we improve the services to get them the help that they need? Some people deal with mental health. How can we deal with that? You got juveniles aging out the foster care system that are becoming homeless because the system is been screwed up for so long. So I think we have to fix that. And I think also with the rising housing costs, you got people sleeping in cars, and they go to work every day, but they sleeping in cars because they can't afford a home or an apartment. And I don't believe we could call ourselves the greatest country in the world, and we got homeless people on the streets. That just doesn't make sense to me. So I I think we just gotta. It's a battle we gotta attack from a lot of ways, because it's not simple. As simple as to say, let's go build 1,000 homes and give all these people homes. Some of these people are dealing with issues that no matter if you built a home, they might end up homeless again, because we got to fix the root causes to why they're homeless.
Absolutely on point. Um, I think uh, for me, Nebraska should be the model for the rest of the country. And the reason why I say that is this: we don't have the numbers that other cities have. Can you imagine trying to fix LA? Imagine trying to fix Chicago. Imagine trying to fix Philly. We have the resources here and should have the wherewithal to be able to address this. What do you see as a problem for us not moving in that direction?
The problem is, if we moved in that direction, all these fake awards would get taken away, and people wouldn't feel good about themselves because they did not donate to poor people. I think we have to shift our mindset. You know, Nebraska can be the example, but does Nebraska have the willingness to actually help people, or is it just a bunch of lip service? That's where we have to get to. It's millions of dollars that flow through the community year to year, and the amount of money that comes through Omaha, just Omaha, there shouldn't be any issues. But we have people that I think they may or may not have the best intentions, and because of that and the way they funnel these dollars to different places is why it's ineffective. It means nothing to give somebody $1 million if it's not being used the right way. So I think we have to get more intentional about how the dollars are flowing and how they're being used to actually work for people, and not just make people feel good about themselves.
Hmm.
A year or two ago, there was a lot of news coverage about a law that if you are these people in your home, and you don't pay your property taxes for 3 years, anybody can come in and buy your home if they pay your back taxes. I know there was talk about the legislature trying to change that. Have you heard anything about that? I haven't heard anything.
No, but there's been some things on a federal level and in the courts that are kind of changing that. So, yeah, it's like a tax lien process, but it's not that simple. It won't be that simple anymore, and there's going to be some more changes around that to say, even if they do, you got to be paid the value of your home, and you just don't lose your home. And there's some work on the federal level to try to address that issue. Yep.
Okay. Um, what do you believe the role of government should be in the lives of its citizens?
Easy to help people. The role of the government should improve people's lives and make it as simple as possible. The role of government should be working to prevent bad things from happening, and not just waiting to try to address something. I think government at its core form should work for people. Your tax dollars are going to all these people's pockets and these fancy buildings that they're passing all these policies. So I think the role of government should be to work for the best interests of the people, and not people just because they have money.
Do you think the elected officials' offices are up for sale? Because so much money is being spent on running for office, particularly the president, Congress, the Senate.
Are they elected officials' offices up for sale? Mm, you could argue yes, for sure, especially on the federal level. I would say for me, Uh, I've always been frank. I don't care if you donate to my campaign. If you do something wrong, I'm going to be against you. And if I feel like something is needed for my community that goes against what you may want, I'm still going to do it because I work for my community. So I wish more politicians were like that. Like, I don't care that you donate to my campaign. At the end of the day, I wasn't sent here to work for the best interests of people who could donate to me. I was sent to office to work for the people in my community. So they shouldn't be up for sale, but when you look at how inefficient the federal government is, that's probably why.
Yeah. Do you support the Nebraska legislature's effort to pass a bill that would circumvent an upcoming ballot initiative where voters could repeal a new state law that the legislature passed?
The scholarship thing. So I did vote for LB 753, which would give scholarships to kids to go to private schools. I didn't support the bill this year, 1402, mainly because, at the end of the day, regardless of my views, if the people want to vote on something, just let them vote on it. And that's how I felt. I didn't vote either way because I'm 50-50 about it. And the reason I'm 50-50 about it, just to be clear, because I know people like to mess up my words and make assumptions without actually listening. The reason why I voted for that bill was because for my lifetime and most of y'all lifetime, kids that look like us that go to school in OPS have been undereducated. And I don't see a willingness from the education establishment to change that reality. And being somebody that grew up in North Omaha, I've had friends that I believe wouldn't be in a state penitentiary currently if they had another option. But to say no because they're poor, and that, to me, that's crazy. It's not a one size fits all thing. I don't think it's a solution, but I do think because there's an unwillingness to fix the education system, kids that come up in this community deserve every opportunity at a better education. And it shouldn't be based upon whether somebody has money or not. And, people say the arguments, private schools discriminate, well, public schools discriminate. And all these things. And at the end of it, at the core of it, it's like, how can we make sure more kids from this community get a better education or are successful in life? And the funny thing with tax credits, it was just funny to me. If people are making an argument that tax credits take away from public schools, then why aren't we having a ballot initiatives every year to eliminate every tax credit? Why are we just picking one? If the fundamental argument is tax credits take away from public schools, then why don't we eliminate all tax credits? But you don't see those type of efforts. And at the end of it, it's gonna be what it's gonna be. I don't think public schools will be destroyed. And the reality is, I could talk to 100 people in my community today, and they'll tell me public schools are already destroyed. When you look at the educational outcomes, when you look at what's really been going on in the schools, I had to pass a bill to prevent them from suspending pre-K and second graders, and those and the crazy thing about that is that it was a disproportionate amount of kids that are Black and Latino that are being suspended. So don't make the argument with me that public schools are just this fairy tale world of heaven and everything is peaches and cream. And it's not. And we just got to be real about that. And regardless if you support it or don't, how are we going forward going to make sure kids, no matter the system that they're being educated in, have better outcomes? And the people who tell me I'm wrong or I'm crazy or whatever, they put nothing on the table to improve those schools and improve those kids' outcomes. It's just no, 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 no. You shouldn't do this. You shouldn't do that. But they're spending millions, but don't do anything to change the fact that for 30 years of data, Black kids have performed the lowest in public schools.
I don't understand the rationale of suspending a second or third or fourth grade child, because you're going to send him home. Okay. So the mother, if she's working, she's going to have to take off work to stay at home with the child. Why would you just keep the child in the school?
They argue that they need to suspend the kid to provide the kid with resources or whatever. And the reality is, if you know a kid is bad, it one time isn't going to tell you that a kid is bad. You see the signs. You talk to these people, you talk to teachers, they see the signs of a kid going through something. But instead of stepping in to try to help the kid and the family, the automatic thing that they want to do is suspend the kid. And I'm not saying kids should be assaulting other classmates or teachers. I think that's wrong and it shouldn't happen. But the reality is, I was a kid that was suspended a lot. I have little cousins and things like that that have been suspended a lot. And just suspending me didn't improve my behavior. I was like, I got suspended. I'm going home and I'm watching cartoons. I might get a whooping, I might not, but I'm going home and chilling. I don't understand consequences. I didn't understand consequences at that age, because I went right back and was probably back doing the same things. And a lot of these kids are, because we're not addressing the core problems of what's going on. Maybe the kid is acting out because they're going to sleep hungry every night. The kid is acting out because his clothes are dirty. The kid is acting out because they don't know how to read. How are we hitting those core issues to make sure we improve the kids instead of just trying to suspend them?
How much of bullying has come across your desk?
A little bit. You know, bullying has changed. It's not just in person. You got online bullying with kids with all these phones and social media apps. So it happens, and it definitely is a problem, and it's something we should all continue to monitor to make sure that your kid or your grandkid or whoever isn't being bullied. And I think that's a part of the other issues around the juveniles. You really don't see them playing outside all like that anymore, but they're on the phones, but they're talking, whether on a video game or a social media app, they're talking, and eventually they do meet up. And when they meet up, things happen because of that. So I think we have to improve our systems of monitoring our kids and not police them. I'm not saying police, like, let's get the police to spy on the kids or anything like that. But I just think as parents or elders, if you have a kid that's in your care, you should know what's going on social media and things like that.
And social media is a big issue. So do you support banning of TikTok? Yes or no?
Do I support banning a TikTok? I don't think that really solves much. You know, I know their argument is that China is collecting data and spying on Americans or spying on people. And I just feel like if everybody in here got social media, you being spied on. Just being honest. Like, you gave up your information once you didn't read that agreement that you just click yes to. So I don't think it needs to be banned. I don't see a real reason when we're being spied on. How many of y'all say something like, hey, I might go to Target, and then you get on your phone and Target ads are popping up? So I mean, right. So I probably need to get better education on why they really want to ban them. I just saying China is spying on us is probably not enough, because I think we're all being spied on.
So I see some queens in here, and I definitely want to get them to ask some questions. I know they ask some very good questions. So do y'all have any questions, ma'am? Yes, ma'am.
Hey.
You and Senator Wayne worked so hard, step and lock, in building this. Some things did not happen the way that you expected. I know you've talked about if you get back in office, there's some work that you need to do on the back end. Since Senator Wayne is not going to be there, if you should win your seat again, what are your concerns about the new person if they don't quite fold in the same as you believe? Are you feel you'll be able to make those changes without their support? Or do you have something in mind that you would like to work with them on in continuing to improve LB 531 for our community?
Yeah. I hope whoever gets elected to replace Senator Wayne, that we can work together and collaborate on different pieces of legislation. I think the biggest thing is just communication. People assume that me and Senator Wayne vote the same on every bill, which is far from not true, but we do talk, and we do communicate with each other often about things that are going on in the legislature. And as far as 531, there's more money that is going to be available for the community, and we were able to pass LB 164 this year, which will move the money and get it going through an inland port authority. And two primary reasons for that is more local control and local eyes on how the process will take place. I think a huge problem with the Department of Economic Development is they're the Nebraska Department of Economic Development. That means they're working for the whole state, so that intentional piece that we needed for North Omaha wasn't there like a lot of us thought it should have been. And my hope is that once we get these dollars get into more of a local board, we can see improvements in the outcomes of how the resources are going to be handled. But also the other reality is we need to get the money away from the state as soon as possible, because if projections don't change, the state is going to go broke by like 27, 28. So, and we don't want the governor or anybody coming back and trying to take the money away from our community. But overall, I hope that whoever is elected in District 13, that I could work with them. And we may disagree on some things because that's just life. But at the end of the day, I hope we could have a professional relationship and still work for the best interest of North Omaha, because our communities are right there with each other.
So you said the community gonna be broke. The state gonna be broke at 27, 28?
Yeah.
So
I mean, the state has committed a lot of dollars to a lot of big projects and trying to decrease property taxes and income taxes. And because of that, we're not bringing in new revenue. And because we're not bringing in new revenue or more revenue, we'll potentially see the state become close to bankrupt or not have a lot of money. So just like they did this year, going to raid different funds throughout the state, the governor will probably try to do the same. And we don't want money for North Omaha sitting in a fund and then the governor go try to hijack it.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So we have to be. Oh, hi, Lynn.
I have a question. You brought up governor. With the, and I hesitate to call it a threat, but to continue to bring the state legislature until the Pillen bill is passed as far as taxes. Is there any way to bring forward, if you're brought into special session, a different kind of bill that would make it unpleasant for the governor to be listening about his tax bill?
Yes, if he does call a special session, any senator could bring a bill. It just has to fall within the scope of the call of the special session. So we could bring bills in as long as they fall within the scope of the special session.
So is You gonna call a special session?
He's definitely calling a special session. It'll probably be in August, is what I'm hearing.
Oh wow.
I mean, it has to last at least, I believe, like 8 days, but it'll probably last a couple weeks. And he's threatened, I guess, that he'll keep calling special sessions until he gets his property tax relief plan completed. So I don't know. It could last a while, but the reality is they're not gonna keep us in special session because of the elections. And so I would say probably couple weeks in August, most likely, or more, but not close to like October or anything like that.
All right.
Yeah.
Sugar face. Because the amount of work you guys do.
This is just an important question. During the normal session, when the governor calls a special session, you have to go and consider the.
Yes. His term isn't technically over until 2025, until the next senator is sworn in. Yeah.
This has been very informative, and that's one of the things I want to do with the candidate forums. It's great to see them on TV. Great to have to go down to the legislature. We need to have them in the community, and need to have them engaged. So I got an opportunity right now to engage him and find out why is he running, what's his focus, what are some of the things that he want to see happen or not happen. So make sure you take advantage of this opportunity with the senator, because he's one of the few folks that actually come down to this community, man, and engages us. So just want to put that out there.
They got
I'm not no queen. I'm just a black man trying to do the next right thing. But like the recent thing I ran into is this deal where DHHS is missing like $10 million. And then with because I'm a black trauma therapist, and with Total Care, I've had a 5-year contract with them, and so they just cut the contract. So when you said there's a shortage of just therapists and there's a big shortage of black therapists, and I didn't know this $10 million came up missing, so what is your thoughts and how like the state's trying to handle that, and I got a name of some state senator. Somebody told me I was supposed to contact. He's here in Omaha. Some white guy they just sent it to me recently. So it's just the whole thought when you talk about the mental health piece and the shortages, and then with Total Care, Nebraska Total Care got a big chunk of clients that are from the black and brown community. So it's just the whole thought process. And then on the state level, are they doing anything to penalize Total Care? And then how did the $10 million come up missing?
I mean, DHHS, I think, is too big to succeed in a lot of ways. It's one of the biggest departments we got in state government, and they budget is billions, and that's the problem. I don't know how the money went missing, but there's been a lot of leadership changes in DHHS over the past few years, from new CEOs, other department heads, and things like that. So I haven't been provided an update of how the money went missing or where it went to, but it's definitely missing or just not being accounted for some type of way. But overall, I think the issues with Total Care or DHHS is a fundamental issue of having a department that is supposed to address the health and human services of constituents and communities, but I don't believe it has ever truly served all constituents in an equitable way. And I think the hope was in the past, when we had a black CEO, that a lot of those barriers would have been decreased. But I think when you have differing political thoughts and those type of things, the politics get in the way of actually doing the right thing. So I would tell you, hit up the new CEO, hit up the governor's office too. Like, that's where the decisions are really made. You know, the CEO is the CEO, but the boss is the governor.
Uh, 1 minute. Okay. So I'm gonna leave up to Senator Terrell and close this out. We got about a minute.
All right. Well, thanks again for having me today, Willie, Black Men United, and Big Mama's Kitchen. Again, I'm Senator Terrell McKinney. I'm running for re-election to represent District 11 in the state legislature. I'm running to continue to build on the work that I've done thus far around economic development for the community, criminal justice reform policy changes, increasing educational outcomes for our kids, and increasing healthcare access. If you want to learn more about me, visit my website, peopleforterrellmckinney.com, or just reach out to me through email. Thank you.
And I just want to add this. I did invite Senator Ernie Chambers, and he declined to be here. And then also Miss Calandra Cooper. I can add Miss Calandra Cooper. She declined to be here at the last moment. She thought, I'm gonna go ahead and say it, she thought there was a conflict with him being up here at Big Mama's due to the fact that she went down and testified in support of the SNAP bill. So I did invite both of those individuals here, and it was kind of disappointing that the senator didn't show up, but he has his reason, and also Miss Cooper. So
Do you have t-shirts for sale?
I will. I'll send it out. I got you. You need a yard sign? Huh? Yeah, I have a yard sign pull up actually Friday at noon on 24th and Lake, and I also have a canvassing event on Saturday at 4:30. So some things coming up. And thank you. I wish it wasn't just me, but it is what it is, and I'm accessible, and I'm continuing to work for the people. Thank you.
thank you.
Hi, welcome to Big Mama's Kitchen and Catering. We've moved to our new location here at the beautiful Highlander Accelerator building located at 30th and Patrick. We are still open even during the pandemic. We've made some changes and we are here to serve you Omaha's best soul food. The best way to order Big Mama's delicious soul food is to go to our website, bigmamaskitchen.com, click on the Order Now button, place your order, pay for your order, and upon arrival, park at any one of our 4 convenient curbside pickup locations. Give us a call and we'll bring the order right out to you. You can also order carryout from Big Mama's. Park on the Patchett Street side of the building, walk down this long brown sidewalk, and come in through the west doors. Once inside, you come in through the door and enter in what we call the dining room, and you walk right up to our window and you can place your order or pick up your food. We're looking forward to preparing a fresh home-cooked meal for you, and we hope to see you soon.